You got a software problem. One of the selling points of Dominion used to be, until they cleaned up their website, they did fractional voting for you. What is fractional voting? Anybody? They count your vote differently. So it'll be 2 votes, but they might count your vote 1.1 and this 0.9. A selling point of Dominion was that. And we traced it back. The fixer on this is out of Canada. He also fixed an election in Arizona. He's been around the world doing this. Talk to my CIA friend. Everybody listens to Mickey McKenna. He's been on there. Brad Johnson. He said, you aren't that naive to think that the only country in the world that this doesn't happen to is the United States. He was chief of station for Venezuela and Romania. He also interviewed Lucifer, who is the hacker. And he also talks to me about skipping. He's part of the rendition program. Skipping is when the jihadis shoot towards you, but they hit the ground before you so they can wound you, so they can capture you. Long story, he's got some wild stories. He was helping us with some of this stuff too. Bottom line is that what's going on in Wisconsin, everywhere, the problem we have is we have a legislature that refuses, absolutely refuses to listen to us. Absolutely refuses. The only 2 and 3, and actually I'll speak on behalf of a third person, the 3 people that are running uphill with a 500-pound backpack on are Janelle Branchen. She should be given bronze in her weight. She's fighting a 3-front war: the press, the Democrats, and leadership. And guess who the #1 problem in leadership is?
Boss.
Have you heard him talk before? So, the other one is Ramthan. He came out of nowhere as far as I'm concerned. All of a sudden he just jumped on and rolled with this. And he is in up to his eyeballs. And he is really on a suicide mission. He is going and going and going. The third person, and I saw him here tonight, was Murphy. He was involved in some respect early on that. I don't remember. The rest of the guys there, to a man on the Republican side, have taken the following thing. They know that they are employees of Robin Goss first. Second, they own a donor something. And maybe third, as long as it's about 60 days before election, they own the county party something, you know. And that's it. Look what happened with Markline. Everybody knows that there was a letter that put out from the county party down in Dodgeville, or no, in Baraboo, put out a letter saying, Markline, what are you doing? They called him to get him on board. He refused and did not take their call. They did a couple times. They sent him a certified letter. Nothing. They then called him another couple times. Nothing. They sent that letter out, which we distributed around. It was on Mark Billing the other day. It was on, I think Joe Show had it on. A couple other ones, Meg in Wausau had it on. Guess what the response was so far? Nothing. He came back to me and says, I don't know what's going on, but I need to contact these people. I'm not there. You're having a problem with the party. The problem for him is that's not the only letter he's going to get. There are others. I'm in contact with about half the state parties at this point. I've talked to them probably in the last month, either their chairman, vice chairman, something like that, secretary. I'm probably in regular contact with about 20 of them. There are other county parties that are going to be doing the same thing. One of the things I'm hearing very consistently, and this would be a deliverable for you guys to do going forward, is they're forming committees to do reviews just like you do for any other employee. In other words, you sit down with the legislator and say, we like bill number 1, 2, 3, we don't like this bill, we need this amended, that kind of thing, and then checking on the vote later. You'd be amazed at the disconnect that's going on out there. They're telling you that this LAB audit is fine, all is well. They're done with it, okay? They're talking to you about going into the Senate, and the Senate's going to do something. Let's talk about the LAB audit just for a minute. One, did you know that they did not do anything with the logins? Nothing with the machines, nothing with Dominion, nothing with ES&S, nothing with the remote access. They said, well, the machines aren't connected. Are you that naive? Are you?
Yep.
And honestly, they don't have to be. Anybody heard of a thumb drive?
Yep.
Something new?
Absolutely connected.
Everybody knows that.
They won't turn over the Splunk logs. They won't turn over the IP addressing.
You bet.
All that stuff is available, and they're not doing it, and they're not asking for it. And they need to start doing that. And get that information out there because it's bullshit.
Yep. And what's happening is, what you're seeing is that the average legislature is probably 2 generations behind you guys. The average grassroots is a hell of a lot more up to date on this stuff. The shit show, because I've heard that term before, what's going on in Madison is incredible. They want nothing to do with this. They are playing for time. Let's say it goes to the Senate committee like you're talking about. Cowles, who is on the Audit Bureau, and Bernier, who is on the Senate Elections Committee, have issued nothing in support of branching. They both said that there is nothing there. There is nothing to investigate. This is over. And that's who we're going to turn this new election audit stuff over to. It's designed to fail. There might be some hope for Gableman, maybe, we'll see. We're about 10 days out from him getting something out there, maybe next week, I'm not sure. But like Clark was saying up here, he started out with 4 guys, he's down to 2, whatever that is now. He's got a budget. Nobody knows the statement he's working off of. The contract that he signed says he can talk to only one person. That's who that one person is in the legislature.
Robin Moss.
We heard this again, huh? And he can only talk to a boss or his attorney. That's 2 people with boss permission. So this is part of the secret audit that we're supposed to be doing, and it's coming around. The bottom line is that where the county parties can help people out of this stuff is hold these guys accountable. Call balls and strikes on it. Do the bill thing that I just said. My guess is that I already know of 5 or 6 counties that are going to do that are in process for doing the like a monthly review committee. They're going to get together, a group will get together, maybe a person from each group would do that. Sit down, call the balls and strikes, and tell them what they're doing right and wrong. When they do something good, absolutely tell them that. And when they do something wrong, absolutely tell them that. How many people have children? What do you do with them? You just let them go? Same thing here. And it's just as fair to me, because if I were a legislator, I'd want to know what you expect for power. I don't want to hear about it afterwards and you yelling and screaming at it. I think that's a very good idea. My guess is by maybe next spring, I would say there might be 12 to 15 counties that will be up and going on something like this. It's a very live talk, and I would encourage people here to do the same thing. Let's talk just a little bit about a couple things. We talked about WEC. I guess WEC actually came out of the Government Accountability Board. That failed. That failed not because the Republican legislator held it accountable. A guy named Ken Dragotta out of Waukesha personally sued these guys along with a group of people and flipped that whole thing around. And guess what? All of a sudden it disbanded, it became hot property, and then the legislator stepped in and put this dysfunctional WEC. It's been out of control for years. They're not victims of it. They're the ones that oversee it. They're the ones that finance it. So they are the ones that are accountable to it. I reach out to anybody that wants to go with. I would love to have the RPW work with us. Love it. I'd extend the offer today. But they're going to have to catch up to where we're at because they're behind us at this point. We've had a call with them once, didn't go well. We'll see what happens on that. Other than that, I'm going to cut this off right now because I really want Jefferson to come up and explain some of the stuff that we're doing here. 75% of the counties are telling the state party that they're off in the wrong direction. They're telling leadership they're off in the wrong direction, and yet these guys are held in there. I would encourage you to call your legislator, say something to them the next time you see them, but please get that committee up to hold these guys accountable. Be consistent, but follow through on a lot of this stuff. That's all I have for now. Let's give it over to Jefferson.
Well, first of all, I want to make sure that those of you who want to hear me can. Everyone can hear okay?
Yep. A little louder. A little louder.
I'll try a little bit louder. I was speaking not too long ago and I asked the same question and one lady way in the back raised her hand and said, I haven't heard a word you've said your whole presentation. And one lady in the front jumped up and said, I have, I'll be glad to switch places with you. So hopefully that won't happen tonight. Let me speak to you very briefly from 3 perspectives regarding election fraud and election integrity. Because nothing matters if we don't get this right. If we don't fix what happened on November 3rd, guess what? The Democrats and the big tech billionaires are going to do the same thing for 2022. And that election cycle starts 30 days from this Monday. On December 1st, you file the candidate statements, you circulate the nomination papers, and you're off and running. So from 3 perspectives, I want to tell you how we got to the mess where we are. where we are today and where we're going in the future so that we have an end game. And the end game is simply this. When we get done with what we're doing with our organization, we're going to turn our report over to 4 entities. We're going to turn it over to the 23 counties that were the most egregious out of 72 with the election fraud. We have a data analyzer that has incorporated the efforts of a national major data company that can analyze 7.2 million names, addresses, phone numbers, date of birth, driver's license,
Nice.
and social security numbers. So we know specifically where the Democrats and the big tech billionaires cheated. We have it right down to the street, right down to the address, right down to the
Nice.
house. And what we're doing right now, and this is where I'm going to ask for your help in a few minutes when I get done, is we're going to ask you to help us complete the canvassing. We have about 2.5 weeks left to marry the data information to the actual picture of the home. We knock on the door, and this gentleman here comes to the door, and we say, Larry, do you have these 16 people that voted from your address? And Larry goes, I've never seen these people before. We put that into our database, we take a picture of your house, and then we married that with the data analysis that we did. Now, we're 2 weeks out from completing that. When we get done with the actual report, we're going to give it to 4 entities. We're going to give it to the Wisconsin Election Commission. What do you think they're going to do with it?
Throw it away.
We're going to give it constitutionally, we're going to give it to the Attorney General, Josh Call. What do you think he's going to do with it?
Throw it away.
And number 3, we're going to give it to the Assembly Campaign and Elections Committee chaired by Janelle Branchen. What do you think she's going to do?
Something.
And then the last 4th entity, we're going to give this data report that hopefully you can be part of to the 23 county sheriffs, district attorneys, and the clerks.
Yes.
Now, the sheriffs, the district attorneys, and the clerks have absolutely no idea what the Democrats and the big tech billionaires did before the election. But they do now. And they have no excuses whatsoever how they did this. And let me just tell you how we got in this mess, where we are today, and then where we're going, and then I'll be done. And I really appreciate your attention. It is so encouraging to see so many faces and so many people at an organization like this. And thank you to Calumet, Outagamie, and Winnebago counties, Sarah, Ty, Deb, and the leaders of those respective county parties. So here's how we got in the mess. Thank goodness the Republicans didn't do anything to stop what the Democrats and the big tech billionaires did. And I mean that sincerely. Because if we had stopped all of the cheating and we had stopped all of the fraud, we would never have known what we now know. And that sounds really sadistic, but it's true. So here's what they did. They served up a really good cocktail. They thought, how can we, number one, destroy Donald Trump? And they worked on that for 4 years, and I don't need to repeat all of those things. But we had really good times, didn't we? In September, in October, in November, in December of 2019. But what happened in January and February of 2020? This thing called COVID came along.
Yeah.
Because we had to destroy America, a president, and the Republicans out of pure, unadulterated hate. We are not filled with hate. We better not be. Because we are not going to be like them. But what we will do is we'll stand for this flag. Yeah. We'll stand for the Constitution. And we'll make sure this nonsense never happens in the state of Wisconsin ever again. So here's what they did. You ever heard of a company called LinkedIn?
Yep.
Okay. The founder of that company's name is Reid Hoffman. He's one of the 38 billionaires in the world that pretty much run the world.
Yep.
Okay? That's my opinion. Okay? So here's what old Reid Hoffman did. I'm going to create a data trolling company called Alloy, A-L-L-O-Y, U.S. And all they do is they go to states and they buy the voter lists. Guess how many times they bought the voter list in Wisconsin between January and October 31st of 2020? 58 times.
Wow.
$12,500 each time. But if you're a billionaire and a Democrat, you don't care. And here's what they were doing, and we've got the evidence in our database. We just need to get the supporting evidence in physical content. Here's what they were doing. The sheriff is right. There's 7.2 million people on the Wisconsin voter rolls. We only have just under 6 million. The sheriff was off a little bit in his numbers, but he's gone, so I'm going to correct him anyhow. All right? Because he carries heat, and I don't want to set him off. Okay? Actually, the two of us are very good friends, and we talk a lot. But here's what the Democrats did. 58 times at $12,500 or $725,000, they bought that voter list 58 times to see who was active and who was inactive. They went in and they could switch the inactive to active, and then after the election, they switched it from active back to inactive. We know who did it. We know how many times they did it. We know when they did it, and we know where they did it. We believe that we have Donald Trump winning Wisconsin somewhere between $150,000 to $200,000. Or excuse me, not dollars, votes. Now, again, what's the end game? I'm going to share a little bit more information. Is it okay if I keep going just a little? Yes. Thank you. All right. Okay, where were we? Oh, just kidding. So here's where we're at. When we get to the end game, we will be able to prove all of this. Now, what we believe happened in Milwaukee, which I'm from Waukesha County, which is Menominee Falls on our Wisconsin map here. On election night, how many of you remember Claire Woodall Vogt, the election worker from Milwaukee County, who lost the thumb drive with 170,000 votes on it? How many remember that story? Okay, you're not going to believe what I'm going to tell you now. I will. Thank you. You know what? That's right. We're smarter than them, aren't we? Yeah. We will believe this because they are the biggest cheaters, and that's no disrespect to a Democrat. Actually, it is, but it shouldn't be. Here's what they did. We have the emails where at 3 o'clock in the morning, Claire Woodall Vogt was contacted by Ryan Chu for the Voters Project, one of Mark Zuckerberg's 14 nonprofit organization that parachuted into Wisconsin with $11 million, the majority going to 5 cities, Racine, Kenosha, Madison, Green Bay, just up the street, and Milwaukee. But to make it look good, we had to spread it out a little bit more to 200 communities around Wisconsin to make it look like we weren't cheating. Well, guess what? We caught him, all right? So here's what Ryan Chu said to Claire Woodall Vogt at 3 o'clock in the morning when the mysterious 170,000 flash drive vote total that she lost, could not find, but mysteriously found it at 3 o'clock in the morning. Donald Trump, y'all remember Donald Trump was up by 110,000 votes? Yeah. Of the 170,000, 150,000 just mysteriously went to Joe Biden. But to make it look good, we got to give Donald Trump 20,000. And you remember the vote difference?
Yeah. 20,000.
540 votes. That didn't happen. There is no way Sleepy Joe won the state of Wisconsin. No. So Ryan Chu sends Claire Woodall Vogt. We have the email. If you want to see it, I can show it to you. If you're part of my daily updates, you will get this stuff. Ryan Chu emailed Claire Woodall Vogt and said, "Hey Claire, you have a flair for the drama. You held those votes just long enough, and you delivered just enough votes so our guy could win." You know what Claire Woodall Vogt said back to Ryan Chu, the Mark Zuckerberg nonprofit $10.3 million baby?
What'd she say?
She said, "Let's go, Brandon. That's right." There he is. I'm done. How can I continue? So she said to Ryan Chu, LOL.
Yep.
Laugh out loud. I just wanted everyone to know that I could stay up for 24 hours in a row to deliver for Joe Biden. Wow. Folks, this is not a laughing matter. Your ancestors and my ancestors, and this gentleman who served in Vietnam from 1964 to 1970, Mr. Robinson, that rascal right there and that beautiful lady on his arm did not do that because they didn't like that flag. They loved that flag. And I'll be doggone, sir, you're a little bit older than I am, if I'm going to rest until we get this fixed. Because you know what? Ryan Chu and Claire Woodall Vogt can't hold a candle to you or that rascal next to you. You know that, right? Here's a couple of other data points that I can share with you that will lead to this report. So what we did, we met with the sheriff after the August 6th rally at the state capitol, and Representative Branchin and Representative Grantham, because they were the only two out of 99 state assemblymen that said, we're going to get to the bottom of this fraud. Wisconsin deserves better, and this is never going to happen again. So a bunch of us formed an ad hoc committee. You can see these when we're done. And we said, we got to come alongside these legislators, because no disrespect to Justice Gableman, that's not going to happen. The LAB report that came out on Friday, but it didn't get there. And then as far as the governor and the attorney general, are you kidding me? All right, dream on. So we formed the ad hoc committee, and we immediately went to the chairman of all 72 counties of the Republican Party. And we married those 72 chairmen with voter integrity nonprofit organizations, because we found out statewide there's a whole bunch of people like you, we just didn't know about you, but now we do. So then we also got citizens, and we put together 53 or 4 of the 72 want this taken care of with a full forensic, physical, and cyber audit. You know what kind of courage and leadership that takes to buck the Republican Party and the establishment? It takes a lot of courage and guts and leadership, but here we are. We've got 75% of the counties, and we would have 100, but there's about 8 or 10 on here that do not have a Republican Party in their county. There's a couple of bedwetters. I won't point them out to you.
Bedwetters.
But one of them is a color green. Another one, unfortunately, has my first name, Jefferson. And then there's one next door called Fond du Lac. And then the other one is Ocanto. And the Eau Claire, okay, of course Eau Claire. But anyhow, just kidding. So that's what we did. We formed a committee. We started lobbying the legislature through a 10-point program. Any of you that get my emails, you know what that 10-point lobbying effort is. The whole focus is we wanted them to support the Branchin subpoenas and not give people immunity. We wanted a full forensic, physical, and cyber audit from 3 perspectives. This is simple. Justice Gableman knows this. He's being dumb like a fox, and I mean that respectfully. This is a voting machine. Here's all we want to do. We just want to do a sampling. Every county has a voting machine. Your county, come up here afterwards and look and see what kind of voting machine you have. There's only 3 ways to vote in Wisconsin. You either do a paper ballot, and then Claire here counts it, not from Milwaukee, but you, yeah. Anyhow, she counts it by hand. The second way, you go in, you fill out a ballot, you feed it through the machine, it's scanned, and it's put in a box, and there's a tabulator. The third way is you just touch a screen, there is no ballot. Those are the 3 ways, and those are the 3 or 4 machines. But guess what? They're all compromised.
Yep.
The gentleman back here with the beard and the hat who was sharing his heartfelt passion, thank you. I don't think I want to make you angry at me, but okay, bring it on, let's go. He's right, this is the voting machine. Here's all we want to do. And if Joe Biden got 85 million votes, he didn't. But if Joe Biden did, then you prove it that these machines weren't compromised. You show me the logins, guess what? We have the logins. We know who logged in, because there's a user and an ID. And it's not election workers. It's crazy. It's who you think it is, okay?
Yep.
Can't say too much. So this is the machine. We got the user, we got the password, we've got the routers, and we've got the Splunk. We've got it all, okay? Yeah, they just don't know. But now you do, so keep it a secret, okay? Yeah, that's with all those cameras going, all right? So this is the machine, that's all we want to do. That's the cyber component. The physical component is actually taking a ballot and putting it through what's called a kinematic process. You've heard of Jovan Pulitzer?
Yeah.
Yep.
We've spoken to him. He's a wonderful man.
Yeah.
He'll come here and do it. But you know what? They don't want him to do that. Why? Because there's fraudulent ballots.
Yep.
All right? The third thing is the canvassing, where you guys can come in, all right? And as I said, we only have about 2 weeks left. And then we're going to compile all this data, and we're going to turn it over to those 4 entities. Here's the end game. The end game is this. Constitutionally and legally, this happens every election year in Wisconsin. Someone gets caught cheating. Usually a Democrat, hardly ever a Republican. But as God is my witness, and I can show you the report, in the state of North Carolina in 2018, there was a Republican. His last name was Harris. He ran, and he did exactly what the Democrats did here in Wisconsin with the absentee ballots. But he got caught. And the guy that did all the fraudulent, his last name is Dowless, D-O-W-L-E-S-S. He was paid $135,000 to cheat with the absentee ballots in the state of North Carolina in the 9th Congressional District in the 2018 election. Guess where Mr. Dowless is tonight?
Prison.
Guess what the North Carolina Elections Board did, which is exactly what the Wisconsin Elections Board should and could and would do if they had some guts.
That's
The North Carolina Elections Board said, this is such a mess. We're going to decertify the election results, and we're going to order a do-over.
Yes.
Now, please don't look at me cross-eyed and go, oh my gosh, Jefferson, how are we going to do this in Wisconsin? Stop. Please stop. Okay? Not you, Claire. You're okay. All right. This happens all the time. The other two options are to do nothing or to declare someone else the winner. Can you imagine if we declared Donald Trump the winner in Wisconsin? We'd live in the Democrats' heads rent-free forever, wouldn't we? But that's not the point. The bigger point is, that is the election fraud. Here's how we're going to restore the integrity, and let me close with this. Hopefully you haven't taken too long. You've been very, very kind, and I appreciate it.
Keep going.
Well, here's something else the Democrats don't know. But you know what? In their hearts they do. Every night when I go to bed, I ask the Lord to examine this, and this, and this. And I say to him, Lord, make me more like you. Did I do that today? Do I love the Democrats? Do I pray for them? Do I want good for them? Yeah, I do, but not very hard. But anyhow, but that's what we're asking the Republican legislators and leaders in this state to do. Please, when your knees hit the ground, when your head hits the pillow, would you just reconcile those three things and say, Lord, what did I do today to restore election integrity and expose election fraud? Because this can never happen again. And let me conclude with this. The Democrats don't know this, but you do. We are working with a nonprofit organization called True the Vote. I have an 11-page report with me tonight that if you want to look at, you can. Here's what they've done in 5 states. You ready? Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Arizona. You ready for this? This is going to blow you away. They have bought 17 terabytes. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds like a big deal.
It's huge.
I guess in the geeky technical language, it means
A lot.
bunch of stuff.
A lot of
You
room.
be quiet, Mr. Vietnam. You're embarrassing me now because you're smarter than I am. But it's big. Here's the 4 things the True the Vote organization did in those 5 states. They bought the terabytes of the cell phone ping records.
Nice.
They bought the video footage of Claire driving up in her car. We have your license plate. We have your face. And we have you on video. You're a mule. You're stuffing the ballot box. We've identified 242 in Georgia and about 109 in Wisconsin. Claire Bear, if you are one of those mules, you better go get the best defense attorney you've ever seen in your life, because there's a day of reckoning coming for you and that guy. So in conclusion, that's just a few of the things that we've done, okay? And thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now, if you want to get the daily updates, I'm going to ask you to grab your phones or a pen and write down our ad hoc committee email address.
I'm recording you.
Recording works too. Yeah. You should be sure and give it to the Democrats.
Yep. Far and wide.
There you go. Our email address is Davis for President. I know. Do you know how many times I tried to get an email address out of this email company? And they finally just said, well, how about Davis for President? I go, wait, I don't have time, just give it to me. So it's davisforpresident@protonmail.com. Please know we don't share your emails with anyone. It's all encrypted. Everything is taken care of. But you will get daily updates about this stuff that we're talking about every single day if you do that. And if you can't write it down, see me afterwards. We'll get it on a piece of paper. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Davis, D-A-V-I-S, my last name. Let me get over here. All right, Davis, D-A-V-I-S, for President, the word, not the number. President as in Trump, at proton, Proton, mail.com. Does that make sense? Did everyone get that needed to?
Yes.
Good. Thank you. Does anyone have any quick questions? Is it okay, Joe, if we take a question, or we want to keep going?
One question.
No questions.
One.
See, oh, sorry. Who had a question? Yes, hi.
How do we do the canvassing?
How do we help with the canvassing? Oh, thank you. Holy cow, I just gave it away. So you send me your email address and give me your name, your mailing address, your cell phone number, and your email address. We put you through a vetting process because people are trying to infiltrate. And then once we do that, we send you up the next level of security. You're vetted again, and then you're going to get an invitation to go online in a Zoom call, and you tell them your county, you tell them your name, and they will say, Lisa, you're in St. Croix County. We need you to go to these 10 houses and take a picture.
Okay.
That's all you have to do. We might have Jean. Is it Jean? Hi, Jean. I don't know why I called you that, but it is now. Jean, Jim, Joan, and Jerry, the four amigos. Anyhow, we might have Jean, the dancing machine, go to a door and knock on it. If you're not comfortable, you always go out with pairs. You never do it by yourself, because you don't know if they're going to pull a gun on you. I mean, they won't, but yeah. So we only have about 2 weeks left to get this canvassing done. We compile the data, we marry it with the data that we've done the analyzation of. We've got them by the you-know-what, and then we're going to deliver it by December 1st. So I hope this is encouraging to you.
Yes.
We can sit here and have pep rallies and press releases and do this stuff until the cows come home. But unless something gets done, it's over. Oh, 10 more seconds. I was at the Racine County press conference
What?
with the nursing home situation. It's enough to make you sick. If you sign up for my daily update, I'll tell you what happened. It's shameful what the Democrats did to those poor, precious people down there.
Yep.
Thank you very much. I hope I didn't take too long.
Now, you heard the one for a second here. I want just a quick little quiz question. Why are they being so effective at what they're doing? Anyone know? Because they're not elected officials. That's why. That's right. By the way, speaking of which, show of hands, what elected officials are still in the room? Yeah, that's the sad part. They're not.